What's up, honey love? What's up, girl? What's up, little honey love? I see you. What you doing, real Sonya? What's up, Sonya? Fat Mama Sonya. What's up, Fat Mama Sonya? What's up, Fat Mama Sonya? What's up, Mayday? Lord Mayday. What's up, boy? What's up, Lord Mayday? What's up, my boy Doc? What you say, Doc? What you say, Doc? What you say, Doc? It's my big boy, Doc. What you say?
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Gamedog Talk. And in the building, we have legendary Mr. Schoolboy Richard Garcia. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, thanks. How you doing?
Real good, real good. Of course, we got Welcome Down Ram, Big Stepping back up in here. What's up, Ram?
What's happening? Salute to everybody in the chat that came in early, man. Appreciate the support.
Yes, indeed. Y'all smash the like button. Appreciate y'all, man. Spread the word and share the video on all your social media. Everywhere Bulldoggers can be found, go ahead and share the video, man. All right, so we got a few topics today that was left in the comment section of the post I put up. And one, I want to read the whole question so y'all have a better understanding of what he was talking about. This is a question from Vic. It says, I got a question. I was going to save this one. He says, but question is, would the same puppy produce different than itself when it gets older or retired? In other words, is the puppy born game, born a producer, or born a cur? I have my thoughts. What's y'all? You understand that question, Ram?
Yeah, I totally get it. And I would say a pup is all three until he shows you otherwise, you know. I look at all the shit I get, even this little pup now, as good as his family background is, and I know the dogs in, you know, intricate detail, I still look at him like you might be a cur. So, you know, until you show me otherwise that you're not, that's what you are. You know, that's just my take on the game. You know, some people say I'm hard and yada yada, whatever. You know, this is how I became successful, was setting them high standards. So, and not lying to myself or tricking myself or expecting something out of a puppy. You know, right. Now I done seen pups get in a yard accident. You know, into big killing ass dogs, and they screaming to go back for more. But that's, you know, a fucking yard accident, and you know, that's just a puppy. So you can't really go off that. You know, a dog gonna be what he gonna be regardless. So if he was born a cur, he gonna fucking grow up and to a cur and die a cur. You know, if he a bulldog, the same thing. As far as producing goes, you know, you never know until you breed them. Because some dogs, you know, is phenomenal dogs and fucking can't produce shit, where some dogs is just average and might be trash to me, but that motherfucker can produce. So, you know, a pup is a pup to me. You know, you're going to be good when it's time to be good, or you're going to be cold when it's time to be cold. There ain't no in between for me, bro.
Okay. What you think, Mr. Garcia?
Yeah, you know, they are what they are when they're born. You know, we just have to wait and see when they grow up if they turn out. Now you can help them with that, you know, they're how you raise them. And I don't mean how you raise them like people on the internet say how you raise them. But I mean, just support them their whole life, bring out the best in them. And you can ruin them too. So some you can't ruin for shit. It don't matter. It don't matter what you do with them. If they're a bulldog, they're a bulldog. But you can screw them up, you know. But basically they are what they are. You don't know it until they grow up. And you know, as far as producing, there's only one way to find that out, and that's to breed them. And for me, the best producers produce to whatever you breed them to, even some offhand shit or some, you know, the percentage might not be there, but you might get one or two good dogs out of it.
Right.
I wouldn't follow those breedings because they're not good enough. But the ones that have a higher percentage and you capture the traits in those dogs that represent what you're trying to breed or their ancestors or whatever, the highest percentage litters, those are the ones I followed. And I didn't, you know, it wasn't like it's set this way. It's just, that's what showed me the best producers. They come from the highest percentage litters, and the ones that you know weren't from the highest percentage litters, they might throw some good dogs, but it wasn't good enough for me. That was kind of a standard I had, but the breeding process and performance process and looking at the traits, that's what it showed me. So that's what I followed. You know, as far as age goes, I don't know if this is what he meant, you know, about do they produce as good when they're young as when they're older? Some do. Just depends on how old. But at some point, I stopped breeding them when they get too old. I just wouldn't do it. That's kind of like the Mother Nature thing, you know. Only the strong survive. When they get weak, the younger ones push them out. So I kind of use that model, you know. They ain't in a pack situation or anything like that. It's just what my eyes showed me. I had like females especially, you know, they produce better when they were younger than they did when they were real old. You know, I wasn't one of those types to you know, buy them shit to bring them in heat, you know, or you know, give them all kinds of drugs or whatever. If they stop ovulating, and that's another thing too, they only have so many eggs throughout their life. Once they use them all up, they ain't gonna throw no matter what you do. So be careful when you're buying older dogs. If you get one that don't take, you know, when you breed her, it could just be that she doesn't have any eggs anymore, and nothing you do for her is gonna get her to produce pups anymore. What age is that? Well, that you have to wait and see too. You know, males tend to, because you know the females they carry the pups, and there's a lot of wear and tear on them, so they get used up more just for that reason alone. You know, where a male, he could be virile into his teens. You know. So, but yeah, the pup is what he is when he's born. It's up to you to find out. As far as production, you have to breed them to see.
Right. I forgot to do a roll call. Let me do a quick roll call. Salute everybody in here. Let me go up here. Let's see. What's up, Mark Wonderland? What's happening, man? DJ 7 for life. Salute. Fall City Bullies. What's happening, man? James in the building. Salute. AJ. Larry. What's happening? Jose Lopez. Salute. Ty Green. Boss Dog Kennels. What's up, man? Got Powerhouse Watson up in here. Tony Gardner. Vernon Stone. Brother Live Life Real. Salute. Tasha Brooks. What's happening? Dan G. Ratchet since 91. Brother Main Event Mark up in here. Y'all smash the like button while you're in the building. Von C. Omega Red. Young World. SBC Kennel. See here. Mark Casey, what's happening, man? Jamie Abbey Tony. 88 Sports Talk. SBO Kennels. Kendrick Kennels, what's happening, man? Okay. Salute. Got that litter on the ground, huh, Kendrick? Todd Green. Bank Statement Kennels up in here. Salute. Black Ham TV. Brandon Blue. Aladdin Saddam. What's not clicking on? 88 Sports Talk. CD Sean. T2 Dog. Let's see. All right, y'all. Hope there's a few more y'all in here, but salute to everybody that's in the building, man. Appreciate y'all. All right. Next question we had was, what's the minimum size an outdoor kennel should be for a bulldog? What would you guys recommend? Let's start with you, Ram.
Well, if you got the space, man, a 10 by 10 is always optimal. But, I've seen dogs still, be good in a 6 by 10, 10 feet long, 6 feet wide, 6 feet high. You feel me? It just depends on how much space you got. I really wouldn't go any smaller, though, than the fucking, 6 by 10, maybe a 5 by 10 where it's only, 5 feet wide, but you still got 10 feet worth of length space, and of course 6 feet high. But yeah, whatever you got the space for. But like I was saying, I wouldn't go any smaller than a 6 by 5 though, because you run the risk of the dog stepping in his shit and just all the shit that come with that you really don't want. Because you could
Right.
be a clean motherfucker and clean twice a day, but unless you fucking work from home, it's gonna be shit build up when you get back home. That's just the nature of the dogs. So yeah, 6 by 5 should be plenty. Anything smaller, you fucking might as well put a rooster in there. Go switch to gamecocks.
What you say, schoolboy? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much the same. As much space as you can afford and that you have is better. 10 by 10 is optimal. You want them at least 6 feet high because some people are tall and some are taller than that. So just to get in there and move around, at least 6 feet high, 6 by 10 or 5 by 10, like Ram said. It's just the space itself. If, like you said, if it's any smaller than that, just put them in a sky kennel anyways and take them out 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Put them on a yeah, but yeah, the most space you can afford or you have a room for.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Um, I was gonna say the same thing Ram said earlier about the 10 by 10. It would be perfect if you have the space for it. If you got one dog or two dogs, you get a couple of those 10 by 10s and shit. If you got the space, then that's plenty of fucking room. You know what I mean? For the dogs to be up in there, they got time, places to run around and shit. Or the 5 by 10 is good because it's wide enough for them to be stand solid. 5 foot wide, 10 foot long. That's a nice little run right there. And like Schoolboy said, you want to have enough height because these motherfuckers like to jump and shit like that too. You know what I mean? So you gotta walk in there. You don't be bending down, scratching over and shit, getting up in that motherfucker. So, but I think that's good. And like Ram said, you want to have enough space so the dog can move around and be healthy, and they won't be all up in their shit. A lot of dogs, if you give them the space and give them the option, they'll eat in one place and they'll shit in another place. If they don't got that option, it's gonna be a mess, man. You got to clean out the fucking bowls every day, all kind of filthy. Trust me, I made that mistake before. You know what I mean? When I got a dog, before I was ready to get one, I couldn't pass the dog up, so I had it in a small space until I got a bigger one. And that motherfucker it's just like, I don't know what was wrong with him. He just kept pissing in his bowl. Just kept pissing. I'm like, dude, do you like piss? What are you doing? Pissing in his bowl, but it was my fault. I should have had a bigger space for him. So he was in there for like a week until I got a bigger space,
Yeah.
But let's see here.
Yeah, if they're stepping in their shit, the first thing they're gonna do is, jump on you and get you full of shit.
Exactly. Yep. And then you're gonna be pissed off and shit, yelling, motherfucker, slapping on the damn dog.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get naked before you go in the house. Your old lady ain't gonna let you in like that.
Yep.
Mine ain't, anyways.
Yeah. I'm about to buy me one of those Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees jumpsuits and shit to wear when I go out and treat these motherfuckers because
yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I had one when I cleaned up the dogs. I just put it on and then take it off before I come inside. Yeah, my wife's only 5 feet tall, but she's tough, man. We had kind of a rule back in the day. Outside I'm the boss of the dogs. Inside she's the boss of the dogs.
Right.
We kept the peace that way. I do whatever I want outside the house. Inside, it's her rule.
Right.
So
I hear that.
That's a bonus point right there, man. Happy wife, happy life. So all the young dudes listening, it's not being soft or a sucker, doing something that gonna keep you from arguing with your wife. So pay attention to that.
Exactly. We got another rule I had. People, ask me not to get off topic, but I tell them I tell my wife what to do. She does whatever the hell she wants anyways, and we're even. You know.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's real shit.
Yeah, over 40 years of marriage, something worked. You know.
Yeah, hell yeah, it's been working. Shit, y'all pay attention. You know.
Yeah. We had another question. Um, this question was in the chat as well on that video where a cat asked the question how so he wanted to break down how to read a pedigree. Now that's interesting. I just make the assumption that people know how to read a pedigree, but like I guess for people just getting into dogs, they want to learn how to read one. But it's different pedigrees though. Like if you're talking about like I got this one here. This is like what people are used to looking at. This is like the easy stuff to read online, but the scrolls are different. Let me see here. Let's see. All right, this is the pedigree. Let me get this off the screen now. This okay. Now this is the pedigree random dog I picked off of that little online pets thing. It's a dog named Terminator. Okay. Now this is forgive everybody else who knows how to read this. This is simple stuff, but for people who just I guess get into dogs. All right, so the top we're gonna start like the top. The steer is the father. Okay, the dame is the mother of your dog of the dog that you're looking at. So Terminator here, father, his steer is Grand Champion Barracuda. Okay, and on the bottom is his mother. All right, so let's start with the top. You will read the top and say, okay, the steer, Barracuda, and then on top of Barracuda, you'll see his father. His steer was Mayday, Grand Champion Mayday, and you'll see his mother was a Yellow Girl, right? And then you would do the same thing to Mayday, right? You would say, okay, Mayday's father was on top, Grand Champion Tank. I mean, yellow, and then you have his mother. Mayday's mother was Dolly, okay? And you would do the same thing on the bottom for the mother. That's the simple way to read. And I think a lot of people got used to reading these, and then when they get the scrolls, they don't really know how to read them and shit. I think that's probably what. Have you experienced that, Ram?
Yeah, and like I had to teach myself how to read a pedigree. Like I'm fucking first generation dog man in my family, and the only other cat who knew about these game dogs was from the other side. So it ain't like I was running over there to get the game until we had the peace treaty and squashed the beef. So I always learned like I would start at the back, So I would start with Yellow and Dolly, and then move forward, which was the wrong way. But for me doing it like that, I got a real in depth of all the dogs in the fourth on up. So, but I was reading it the wrong way. It just after years and years of fucking around, motherfucker finally, was like, oh man, you got to read it like this. But I was already reading them by then. So, when you get them knowing like a scroll like that, the European game dog site and shit, it come in all funny. It's still the same shit. It's just not fucking horizontal like that. It's vertical. But you still read it the same. The first two parents or the first two dogs in the first two generations is the parents to your dog. So you got the sire and the dam, and the sire and the dam of the father, and then their sire and dam, all the way back to the fourth on top and bottom. It's not that hard once you get the hang of it. You feel me?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. And Schoolboy, did you want to add anything to the reading the pedigrees?
Yeah. Like Ram said, well, I'll say this. If you're familiar with the dogs, they're your breedings, or you've been studying peds, look at peds, or how certain dogs are bred, you read from left to right. Right? You see who the sire is and who the dam is and all that, and you go back to the grandparents and great-grandparents. If you ain't, which is what I do now, I read from left to right. I mean, from right to left, from the fourth gen going back,
right?
Because I'm not familiar with the dogs up close. So what I'm looking for, I'm seeing where they're coming from. and I go to that 4th generation and I see which dogs, if any, you know, how many times they appear in that 4th generation, right? And then it gives me an idea of what blood it is at least. And then going forward, going from right to left, I see what type of breeding it is. Depending on how it's put together, is it an outcross, total outcross? Is it 75, 25 outcross? Is it line breeding on a particular individual or particular bloodline? Or is it inbreeding? If you see the same dog, you know, close family, brother, sister, mother, son, father, daughter, like that, you know, grandfather, granddaughter, that's inbreeding. So it gives you an idea of not just the individuals in the pedigree, but how the pedigree was put together. Right. So, you know, like Ram said, it's the wrong way to do it, but because I'm not familiar with the dogs, it's the only way I can do it. And even reading the pedigree, if I'm not familiar with the dogs that way, you know, I have to go back 6, 7 generations. At least I can tell whether they're outcrossed, line bred, or inbred.
Right. No doubt. Yeah. We got another question here is about when is a dog called a good producer? At what point do you call a dog a good producer? You know, is it a certain amount of champions it produces, or a certain amount of just average dogs, or how do you know for sure when you call a dog a good producer, Ram? You on mute, Ram?
All right, that's kind of a tricky question, but I'll give it a 2-part answer. Just standard is say we talking about a male. If you bred him to 5 different bitches and you know everything is in a perfect world, like all the pups made it into the right hands and got their fair shake at life and all that. And, you know, out of the 5 bitches, you know, you got a couple of champions, some winners, and all that. To me, that's a good producer. But you know, I've seen dogs be considered a good producer just being bred twice, and you know, both litters were phenomenal. So it's kind of tricky, you know. But I would say though, you breed to really my standard now. Just the second part is if I could breed my male to the sorriest bitch, as long as she ain't no cur and he still throw me a bulldogs, to me, that's a fucking producer, you know. And them type of dogs is rare. And if you come across them or you lucky enough to own one, man, cherish that shit. Because you'll be fucking paying stud fees for the rest of your life if you don't, you know? But yeah, that's my answer. To me, if I could breed you to 5 bitches and get a couple champs, couple 2-timers, some 1-timers out the deal, something like that, then yeah, you'll be a producer. Because I bred you to 5 different bitches, all bred different. And, you know, no matter what, you threw me some good dogs. Now, you know, every fucking litter and every dog in every litter is not going to be the shit. But, you know, if out of 8, you know, I would at least like 5 of them to be worth it. Whether they fucking, you know, make it, you know, all the way or not, they would have the potential to go and, you know, do good if they was like that. You feel me? So, yeah, that's my answer. It's kind of, you know, long-winded, confusing, but it's not just no basic, simple, you know, answer like that. Because it's a lot of shit that come into play when you assessing what a producer is, you know?
Right. What do you say, Mr. Garcia?
Yeah, pretty much that. I generally advise people, you know, and all this, like, you know, we're going to give quick answers, but all this shit takes time, years. And that's where people become impatient because there ain't no fast track to it. But I generally tell people, whether it's a male or female, you know, if you breed them to an inbred or tight bred individual, and you breed them to another one that's line bred or loose line bred individual, and a total outcross, and see what you get out of that. You know, if you're happy with the results, and you know, the blood matters sometimes. Sometimes it don't. Some produce good with some blood, some don't. Some dogs and other ones they don't. But you know, if you can breed them along those lines to inbred or tight bred individuals, line bred or loose line bred individuals, and total outcross individuals, and you're getting quality animals, you know, with you know, back in the day it was gameness first always, then your dog's a pretty good producer. Doing that could take you, if you're breeding them all at the same time, let's say you make 3 breedings or 5 breedings all the same time, you're going to have a shitload of dogs. And you might have to sell some or get rid of some. So it's real hard to keep track of. But regardless of how you do it, it's still going to take you, 3, 4, 5 years before you find out if your first litter is good.
Right.
Because, if they have a career, you got to wait till the career's done to see if they made it, If you either way, you're going to have to wait till they're adults to find out, But there's a lot to it, Everybody's good ain't someone else's good,
Right.
So you just got, but the main thing is it's going to take you a long time, years. So keep that in mind, And one point Ram said, you breed them to a shitty female, whatever, Don't mean she's a cur or anything like that, but like Bid Red, I bred him to a female that I didn't even know how she was bred, and got good dogs out of that,
Right.
So they're rare, like you said, when you get one, cherish it. They're worth their weight in gold. Don't give them up. Don't let money get involved, because you might not get another one for a long time or ever again.
But if you do give them up to somebody that's going, got the access and the space and the bitches to breed him too or her too. Just, keep a cool relationship with them so you could, see how the dog produced, then still get dogs from them. Like, it worked out for me, Yeah, we did that with Red Jack. It ain't like, we was breeding them out to the fucking public anyway. So eventually we would have been breeding him in circles because we don't breed off the yard at all,
Right.
But, putting them in the right hands of somebody who was more user friendly with the homie Angel, rest in peace. He made him a fucking POR dog, because he had access and space to a lot of different bitches and bloodlines that we wouldn't even fuck with, or people we wouldn't even fuck with to do the breedings, So, but that was so rare too. Like, everything got to line up perfect. Most people not like that, You sell them a good producer and they fucking act like they don't know you and start speaking French when they see you and shit.
Right.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
A lot of people do, man. But we had another question. I threw this one in here. I actually titled the video this. Another question in that same comment section. And I already know what y'all answers are going to be on this, but it's just for them, I guess. What are the best bloodlines and the worst in the American Pit Bull Terrier? Let's start with you, Schoolboy.
What has the best bloodlines?
Yeah, what are the best bloodlines in the American Pit Bull Terrier?
Was that the one where they were asking like which ones are messed up and which ones are good and all that?
Yeah.
And there's good and all. That's always been standard. It's more of who you get them from and what they do with them that matters rather than the bloodline. There's an old saying: don't chase bloodlines, don't chase breed names, because that's going to get you fucked up. But consistent ones over period of time, you could say Jeep, you could say Eli, Red Boy Jocko, during their time, Tudor and Heinzel way back then, the names of the dogs change and the breeders' names change, but the dogs themselves don't change. And basically what you're looking at is English dogs and Irish dogs. I go over this all the time, but people listening now, they probably heard me talk about it, but some people haven't. So it's important to repeat things over and over, even though it seems monotonous or boring, because there's always someone who ain't heard it. But what made up the pit bull was basically Irish dogs and English dogs. And if you look at your pedigrees, if you can go back far enough, that's all they are. Whether it's Tudor with the Henry, Colby, and Leitner, stuff like that, or Heinzel with the same thing, Corvino and Tudor and Hempville, and it's all Irish and English dogs being put together. You want to look at Jeep, you could say it's Colby on top, and Daibo and Lightner Colby on the bottom, you know, like that. Same thing with Jocko Blood is heavy Daibo. You know, the Zeke Black Widow stuff, you know, is heavy Daibo, and you know, they cross it with the, you know, say they cross it with the you know, the Tonka and stuff like that. It's all kind of the same blood being put together. You know, sometimes the most popular bloods are not the best, they're just the most available. And that don't mean that there's something wrong with it, but it's real hard to get good quality animals from the people that are using them, that we're competing with them and breeding those same dogs, because they're using them themselves, so they're not going to cut them loose. They're not going to let them go. There's a lot of dogs, a lot of champions, grand champions people ain't never heard of. You know, we've gone over that. And it's just the fact that they're under the radar. They don't want nobody to know what they're doing. They go do their thing. They keep their mouth shut. They don't care about fame. They have no ego. You know, 10, 15 years later, you might hear about them. You look at them or something, you know, a pedigree with them. You know, what the hell is that? But if you go back far enough, you're going to see it's the same shit over and over.
Right.
English, Irish, you know, you could say, you know, everything's going to go back to Tudor, Heinzel, Colby, you know, Corvino, breeders like that, you know. And later on, you know, you have Carver, Boudreaux, and you know, even the Bolio dogs and like that. Now it could be, you know, whoever's running whatever that is the most successful, you know, the most competitive, you know. If you go down to Mexico, you still see remnants of the old, you know, Fontenot's Booger and Stu Fowler and Red Lady. And what do they breed it to? They breed it to you know, a lot of Eli stuff, a lot of you know, little gator stuff. You know, you have the Carver Eli crosses, and you have the Bolio and Eli crosses, and you know, they got Booger Red and Red Lady and Stu Fowler. You know, that's a lot of Kobe Leitner stuff, you know. So it's basically the same stuff. It's hard to say now because I'm not involved, you know. And going back to the pedigrees, you know, when I read them, I don't recognize the dogs up close. I tell them that, and then I go back farther and I can give them some information on the dogs that they come from. Right. But, you know, it's like they say, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you ain't supposed to know. Like that. It's real hard, but it's just the nature of the game and the atmosphere now, you know. People are scared to tell everybody what's going on because you never know who you're talking to, you know. Exactly. They're still, in this day and age, people getting popped left and right. Right. Sometimes it ain't even a good arrest, you know. It's just for having the damn dogs. They ain't even doing shit with them, you know.
He had a treadmill. Stupid shit like that. You got a treadmill, you got a
breaking stick like that, you know. And usually, you know, I don't want to mean this in the wrong way, but it's usually something else that brings them to their house, and then the dogs are involved. If it's because of the dogs that brings them there, it's because they were too open, or they talked to the wrong person, or sold a pup to the wrong person, or something like that, you know.
That, or they just got other shit, you know, other gangster shit going on too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Something else brings them in, you know.
Yeah, you can't mix the two. Like the dogs is its own fucking headache by itself. So anything else you doing extracurricular, man, like it ain't even worth it, because when they get you for that, they gonna come for the dogs, and now you making the dogs hot, and the dog people ain't even did nothing, and that's what they gonna show primarily. And whatever you got busted with initially is going to be secondary. They're going to make it seem like the dogs were supporting the goddamn drug cartel.
Yeah.
The average motherfucker wouldn't know that. You know, that's impossible. The dogs can't fucking support shit. You know, you support the dogs the whole time you got them, but the media spin it like that on you. So, yeah, you got to pay attention. But was you done? I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to point that out,
done.
bro.
No, you're right. You're right. You know, a lot of times, and this has happened before too, they go there, cops go there for the dogs, right? Whatever. They don't see enough evidence to do shit about it. But then the SPCA officer will be there and say, nope, this is that. Look at these magazines, look at this breaking stick, treadmill, all paraphernalia.
Right.
And then they end up arresting the person, you know. Whereas if the SPCA person wasn't there, the cops will fucking leave. You know, that's
Right.
happened more than once, and to some very famous people. But you know, it's like Ram said, you know, and what I alluded to was you know, they're going to sensationalize the dogs. They may be there for something else. It could be a fucking domestic violence or you know, some civil bullshit. And now because they see you got pit bulls there, that's going to be the focus.
Yep. What you say, Ram?
Say the question over again. My bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You was talking about it. Just the best and worst dogs, bloodlines. I'm assuming the guy who's asking the question is probably trying to get into the dogs. So he's trying to, you know, he's looking for the best bloodlines and the worst bloodlines.
All right. Not to sound cliche, bro, but there is no best and there is no worst. It was bloodlines that I hated. Wouldn't fucking swear to God I would never feed, and I got them in dogs now. Just you got to find that good family of dogs that represent that bloodline. You know, I used to fucking didn't like Heinzel dogs for shit. Like everyone I got didn't work. I crossed it this way, crossed it that way, bred the some way. You know, none of that shit worked. But when they did the breeding of the Heinzel and the Garner shit, like them dogs were fucking phenomenal. Like all of those fucking dogs made it, you know? Like every last one. So I was like, damn, it ain't no bad shit that you can really just down. It's just, you know, it gotta be bred right for it to work. And sometimes, you know, breeders will stick to breeding to a line of dogs for so long and get kennel blind, but when they do make that fucking outcross, you get fucking sparks. Like I couldn't even talk shit about the man dogs no more because I was feeding one of them. You know, all the other shit we got from them sucked, but that one fucking breeding changed my mind. And same with the Frisco dogs. You know, I finally seen some real as advertised Frisco dogs. You know, I was like, God damn, I see why people like them. But it took forever, you know, to see that shit. But when I did, you know, I got a whole new different respect for that working line of Frisco dogs now, you know, because them shits is as advertised. Everybody don't got them, but the ones who do got them know what the fuck they got. And I like to add on to the Bolio part, like if you pay attention to the game, like Mr. Garcia was saying, they all Irish, English, you know, crosses. So, you know, you see Bolio, brother, the handicap dog, you know, was a good dog. You fast forward to get the handicap dog, it was a good dog. And fast forward a little more, you get the gangster himself, LT3, you know. All of them dogs looked alike, had that same type of phenotype, even though, you know, they had, you know, on paper, their breedings look different, but they all go back to that same shit. Now, I'm sure it was other dogs that had that phenotype and looked like them, you know, that was good, but we just didn't hear about them in between the generations. But if you pay attention to the game, those dogs always pop back up. It just depends on what time in the game and whose hand they end up in. You know, if they end up in the right hands, we get to see, you know, handicap, fast forward to T-Tray. You feel me? But if it's a private motherfucker like me, you would never see it unless I fuck with you. And then I'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, look just like the original handicap, huh? You feel me? Same with the Henry shit. You know, I seen a bunch of modern day Henry dogs. Black with the fucking black eyes, you know, black nails, all of that shit. Old Family Red, the same way. You know, the gene pool we got with the dogs is only so big. And there's nothing new under the sun, literally. Believe that, you know. Those genetics is going to pop back up generationally if you know you're a student of the game and you study the shit and you paying attention and you're a righteous motherfucker, so the right people fuck with you, you know. Everything got to line up for you, you know. But you can see it for yourself when you do it. Like I had a modern day dime dog, and I did that just to see if I could do it. I took, you know, a male who had Jeep in his third and fourth, would put Bo in his fourth and his fifth with all the Kobe shit, and Dime was up close and Bo shit. Bred it to my partner, pure Kobe good bitch, you know. And I had a fucking Dime dog in the 2000s. And it produced a dog who looked just like fucking Bo, everything like, you know. But I was able enough or lucky enough really to pay attention to the game and have the right dogs at the right time to try something like that. You know, everything lined up. My male, he was a good fucking dog, and the bitch I bred to was a good fucking dog. You know, she was pure and he had the Jeep in him. He was Jeep Red Boy Jocko. heavy though on the Jeep phenotype. You know, he
Right.
didn't really he looked like Yellow John them, but he was built like Jeep them. You feel me?
Right.
It was like that type of shit. And voila, had a low version of Dime. You know, so the genetics is gonna be the genetics when you paying attention to the game and you got access to try some shit, man. Give it a shot and see, because the dogs are gonna pop back up. You just gotta know when and where.
Right, right. They you know, they call that throwback. You know how the traits from the past come forward. You know, because they're in
Exactly.
there, right? But also, you know, if you're a good breeder, you follow the traits. You breeding for the same temperament, same ability, same structure, all that stuff. You don't lose them. They may not be, you know, they have different names. That's what I'm saying. You know, you can call them Eli dogs, but they're so far removed from Eli that you can't, you know, you can't really say that's an Eli dog. But if you retain those traits, yeah, they're still Eli dogs. They're still Boleo dogs. They're still Jeep dogs. They're still Red Boy dogs. If you don't, you're going to lose it in 1 or 2 generations. Those traits are going to be gone. And I've seen that happen before too, where you know, it's got famous dog 30 times in the pedigree, 6th generation pedigree or whatever, you know, 7th generation pedigree. But they look like they're supposed to, but they don't perform like they're supposed to. Totally different. Those traits have been lost and they're gone. But on the flip side, I've seen people do that and they retain the traits. They look like they're supposed to. They perform and act like they got the same temperament and behavior like they're supposed to. And that's what a good breeder does. He retains those traits. Even if you're throwing outcrosses in there, that outcross is to retain vigor, to keep athleticism. But if you follow the traits that you're looking for, that outcross is just it just helps you retain what I just mentioned. It's not going to change the way your dogs perform or anything. It may make them better, which it should, but they're basically, especially if you take that outcross and breed it back to your stuff, you know, you got that outcross in there to help you, but you retain the traits of your family of dogs. And when you go, you know, people that are new and they're starting out, do as much research as you can. Read all about the dogs and the bloodlines that you can and figure out what you like, what you want. It's like going buying a car. What kind of car you like? So hopefully you go and you study, you know, you like Chevy, you like Ford, you like Lambos, you like whatever you like, and learn everything you can about that car before you even buy one.
You like Hemis? Fuck Ford. My bad.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so you know, what do you like first? You should know that even before you get your first dog. And why do you like it? And how do you want your dogs to act and behave? What size do you want them? What color you like? You know, some people say they don't care what color. Yeah, that's true. Color don't matter as far as performance and all that. But there's certain things about the way the dogs are marked. If all their ancestors are marked that way, that's one indication that at least you've kept that part in. And of course, the gameness, performance, all that stuff is more important. But it's also a reflection of the family, you know. And you can keep those traits, you know, conceivably forever if you know how to breed. And you know, it's like me. I got out of dog a long time ago. My buddy took my blood, you know, and I visited sometimes just to hang out, you know. Dogs still look like they're supposed to. They still act like they're supposed to. So he knew my blood in and out, and he kept the same standards, and he still got it. When he crosses it, then they might have little differences in them, but they still have that, you know, certain things about them that he's retained in the blood. And anybody can do that if you know how to breed. But when you're first getting into it, just find out what you like first, and then research and try and get a hold of somebody that has it, that'll cut it loose, you know. And that takes time too. There's no, like I said, and nothing in this game is there fast track. And I don't care how many dogs you sell, you ain't gonna make no money at it. Not overall.
Right.
You know, it just this is not you know, poultry or cattle. You know what I mean? These are performance-based animals, athletic animals, and the standards are higher than almost anything else, except maybe for gamecocks and and thoroughbred racehorsing or harness racing or something like that.
Greyhounds and shit like that got a performance at standard. This shit is, the more you get, the more it costs, man. For real.
Let me get to.
You can sell a dog for 15 bands, and that's 10 of those bands is going back to the yard.
Yep.
But go ahead,
the other 5, you're gonna go buy another dog.
Exactly. Exactly.
What's up, Thompson? You on mute, Thompson?
Hey, what's going on, man? Salute to the panel.
Salute
to the panel. Salute to the chat, man.
In here. Yeah, you crazy, boy.
Nah,
I see
that
video
like
earlier. Yeah, backdoor Lil Joe.
Yeah, man. Let me ask Thompson.
Just having fun with it.
Let me ask you one, Thompson, one of the earlier questions about the yard setup. A guy asked if you're going to have an outdoor kennel, what's the appropriate size he should have for a bulldog for outdoor kennel? Can you hear me, Thompson?
Well,
minimum size. I think that's the question you asked. Minimum size.
A minimum size for a kennel?
For outdoor kennel.
The smallest I do is 5x10s, and I'll do 10x10s. I like the 10x10s. I set mine up. I run like deck boards across the top. Kind of helps like with shade, but also I can run like a spring pole in there too, and I don't have to even remove the dog from the area to work. So, 5x10 is what standard is for most kennels you buy. But like I said, I'm kind of becoming a fan of the 10x10s.
Right. Yeah, 10x10 is nice. It's real nice. Another question we had, Thompson, we were just talking about was, and mind you, this is most likely a question from a guy who's just coming into the dogs, and he kind of want to try to get through all of the shit first. So he's saying, what are some of the best bloodlines out there for American Pit Bull Terriers, and what are some of the worst? So what's your opinion on that? You on mute, Thompson.
Yeah, repeat that last part of what you said. You kind of went in and out. My service is fucked.
Okay. What are some of the best bloodlines and some of the worst if you're just getting into the dog? Did you hear me? Yeah, Thompson, I think he out there in the wilderness, man. Thompson out there in the wilderness, man, with some hounds, man.
You're going to have to send us a letter. Write us a letter.
Yeah. It's all good, though.
Yeah, it's good.
It's all good. We'll pick up on it next week. I'm go down here and make love to the woman. You feel me? Got to go ahead and do this stuff right here. But why don't you, Ram, go ahead and give us a disclosure, bro.
Man, salute to everybody who came through showing love, man. Salute to all the homies, Bank, Kendrick, M-Line, I see you. Brandon Blue with the slow ass Ford, I see you, man. None of this shit should be used, or is it intended for any illegal purposes, man? If you over here for that shit, you in the wrong spot, but by now you should already know it. I shouldn't keep having to say this shit, but some of you motherfuckers just don't get it. Ain't no bullshit popping over here, man. It's just the OGs and big homies and shit, man. It's grown man time, grown man business, It's the weekend. Y'all be careful, man. If you got it, then keep it with you. Don't get caught sitting in the car lacking, none of that shit. And if you in the game, man, best advice I give you is get out. It ain't like it used to be. Other than that, man, y'all boys be good. Salute the schoolboy. Salute to the good brother Thompson, man, for stopping in for the quick 5-minute wilderness call out. You feel me? Other than that, man, that's all I got. Oh, how could they hit you up for the papers? I got my papers today from schoolboy, man. Them hoes is nice, man, and they well worth the $45, man. I need to fuck with the OG for real.
I appreciate it.
Tell them how they
brother.
can get with you, bro. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. Get a hold of me on Facebook, Richard Garcia, Messenger. If you know somebody that knows me, just get my number or whatever. I'm kind of hard. I don't have a website. I don't have I don't advertise a lot. I like to keep it private, but if you know somebody, they'll know me, and you can get a hold of me, or just get on Messenger, Facebook, Richard Garcia. I appreciate the
Maybe
plug,
you can
man.
hire the A-team.
Yeah,
Already, man. Them shits is really dope, though. Like, yeah, they real
thanks,
nice,
I
man.
appreciate
I'll
it.
fucks with them. For real, for real.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Already.
Yeah.
Right, so yeah, make sure y'all go check out Schoolboy on Facebook. Holler at him about that paperwork, man. And we'll see y'all next week. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Be safe out there, man. Don't be drinking and driving and all that good stuff, man. We up out of here, man. Peace.
Peace.